Good evening, everybody. It's Shelley Johns here from Gympie. I'm here with Ross.
Hi, how are we going?
And I am a supervisor and global expansion team member with Herbalife. I've been with the company now 28 years. So when I first started, I was 20 years old and I was studying architectural drafting and couldn't get Austudy in my last year. So I started looking for some part-time income for my boyfriend and I at the time. Booked us in off an ad and went along to a presentation, which really just went straight over my head. But luckily, he saw the opportunity. So thank you, Peter, wherever you are. And just got started part-time. I started working for Telstra and did it around my full-time job and my half-hour lunch break after work on weekends, and built my income up to about $2,500 a month over a period of time. And I was able to leave my job at Telstra because I really didn't like it. Moved to Queensland, had children, and I just love now that I can work in my community with Ross, and that we're making impact and changing lives. And really, I feel like this is just the beginning of something amazing that we're building, and we've got amazing people that we get to work with every single day. So I love this mastermind group. So we're going to kick off with good news like we always do. And I'm so excited because Cara and James and Amanda, this is their first live team call. So welcome, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
So who would like to start and share your good news for the week? I know you've had a great weekend.
Well, we had our.
So this is James, everyone. So James from Gympie.
James, I'm from Gympie. Amanda and I have not long come on to as a member and trying to build a little bit of a business out of it. We got our first client sale today.
Right.
Exciting.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's going to start on product tomorrow. So yeah.
So you actually invited Lisa to the last event, didn't you?
Yes.
With Shondell. So did she enjoy that?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And then basically Cara and Michael went with you out to where she lives, is that right?
Yes.
Cool.
We actually met them in Tin Can Bay yesterday.
Yes.
And did an info session with her, and yeah, she was quite quick to come on board with it. So
that's exciting. He's excited. I'm so excited for you.
yeah. It's good news. Like it really is. Yeah. I mean, her partner's very supportive of her as well, so that's an advantage for her and us, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do you think, just Cara, the fact that, with Ross and I helping you learn how to do presentations, it was much easier then for you to go and do that with James and Amanda, just to copy it along?
Yeah, most definitely. I just copied what I've watched from you guys. So then to be able to do that for James and Amanda to learn off has just made it really easy. My husband actually comments every now and then, and I'm starting to sound like you guys.
So do you think it actually feels like I always get more excited when my team, something's happened for them. So do you think that's pretty amazing to see that that's happened as well?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's an awesome start for these guys. And it's only the second information session that they've done, so that we've done for clients for them. So it's awesome to see both clients are looking at taking up product. So yeah, it's awesome.
Excellent. Yay. So what happened for you today?
So I had a conversation last Monday. I sort of already had it planned in my head. I wanted to touch base with one of my mum's neighbours. So I arrived at mum's the other week, and mum happened to be standing out the front talking to the neighbour. So, and she said how good I was looking, and I went, well, would you like me to come and do an information session for you? And it's good practice for me. So even if you don't go on product, then it's excellent training for me. And she jumped at the opportunity. So we had that session this morning, and she started on product as well, which is great.
That's pretty exciting because I know you've been talking about her. So,
yeah.
And I love the way that you just said, let's just do it for practice. So there was really no pressure. It was like she was helping you out, basically.
Yeah. And she felt really comfortable doing that. So that was awesome.
Cool. So how many clients have you got now?
I've got 2 clients that have upgraded to members in the last 3 weeks, and I've got 4 current clients.
Oh, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's growing.
Cool. So thank you so much for sharing. I know it can be a little bit nerve-wracking when I put you on the spot, but it's all part of the growth. And of course, your story could inspire somebody else. So thank you, Amanda and James, and Cara for sharing. And yeah, really excited about what you guys are going to build here. Cool. So, Lindy, I know you've got some great product results. I did see the post.
Oh, good.
So can you maybe just give people a bit of a background with Ben, because they might not know much about it?
Absolutely. Ben is 19 years old and he has autism, epilepsy, and he's non-verbal. And he also has dietary specific. So it's not that he has any allergies to anything, but he's reluctant to eat new foods, maybe whether he's just a little bit scared. I don't know. No one has worked that out quite yet. But he was carrying a lot of weight around his stomach. A lot of it is due to his epilepsy medication and just trying to get him out to do exercises. I've got really good therapists who have been on hand. But at the moment I thought, okay, I need to at least get about 10 or 15 kilos. He was in, to give an example, it's very hard to weigh him sometimes, but I know at just on 90 kilos, he was a 3XL t-shirt. So you can tell then that's, it's all around the stomach. I hadn't been able to replace a meal as such, but what I thought I might do is just try and cut back on a lot of his snacking. So I put mandarin aloe in his water, and then and so that was obviously a great bonus. And then I've done a shake in the afternoon and sometimes in the morning if he's been wanting it. Probably every second day, I have to say, not every day as much as I'd like. But I was really excited today. The carer took him out to his exercise physiologist and he phoned me while he was there and he said, "You're never going to guess." He said, "But he's jumped on the scales." And I thought, we do that every time. But then he said, "No, you don't understand." He said he's got right on 80 kilos. So he's lost 10 kilos in 7 months. So that's not bad considering it hasn't actually been a meal replacement. It's been used as a snack. And so now if we can get another 5 kilos, that'll be really great. So yeah. I'm chuffed.
Can you please share, just because I don't think people realise the importance of this, is how long did it take you to get him to take the products?
Oh gosh, that's funny. I'd say about 9 years.
Whoa!
Yeah,
it took a long time.
Perspective,
Well, see, he's very sensory, so he'd pick up something and smell and go, no. And that's not it. Or even trying to get him from regular soy to light milk, that took quite a few years. So he still doesn't drink the light milk, or he thinks he doesn't drink it, but it's in his shake. So you have to work around it. And then, I let him sniff a lot of the containers to see if there was something he liked, and he kept going back to the vanilla. So I thought, well, I'll just stick with what's easy for him. And then I thought, because he'd had so many health issues over the years, I knew that aloe was going to be something that would work for him. And the best part out of all of it, obviously the weight is really good, but the best part for me is it only took about, I don't know, maybe not even 3 weeks. And then he started making sounds. Like he always sort of has a little bit of a happy sound, but now it's like he's trying to say something. And to me, that's fantastic. So that's been good.
So amazing persistence. So I just really put that in perspective. So well done on being so persistent.
And then after the weekend, I thought the STS, I just got a bit of a fire in my belly. So I decided I'd come home and keep cracking. I had to do some banking things with the boys tomorrow. And the girl said to me, "No, can you come back on Tuesday, being tomorrow, because the other bloke wants to speak to you about the sports stuff again." So I went, "Oh, okay." So that's why, the products I was asking you about. When we came back from a dinner, which obviously I'll talk about later, the driver, I said, "Can I please leave some of my business cards here?" And he said, "But what about me?" So he didn't want to give me his number, but he took the card. He looked at my flyer that I had, the last one in my bag, which was really lucky. So that was good. And they always say never give up on anybody. Now, oddly enough, my ex-husband buys a Formula One shake just every month. That's all he does. And I was only joking. And I said, maybe what you need to do is sign on as a member and then you don't have to keep coming to me. And he said, yes. So, he's joining in on Friday night. So I thought, well, that's really good. Then because he does a lot of cycling, so then at least he can use all the sports products too if he wants to, and does it at his own leisure and doesn't have to keep asking his ex-wife for products.
That's a positive evolution of a marriage, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
You've got to be nice now because you're in business.
That's right, that's right. But it
Can I
made
just
sense.
ask you, Lindy, does your son is aware of his weight loss? You know, he knows he's losing weight and...
I don't think so, no. I think, but I certainly, I suppose the only thing I've noticed is when he's doing exercises, you know, when you're at the gym and you've got the hand one that moves around, they're trying to do things to try and burn his belly fat. But he would go for perhaps 10, 20 seconds and that would be it. Whereas now he just wants to keep going. So perhaps there may be an awareness, but he just can't express it because he can't talk.
he's enjoying what he's doing. So
Yeah.
that's another way of getting around things. I guess it's like even when all of us want to exercise and you think, oh, you know, will we do it? And then you start doing it and you have a lot of fun. So you really end up doing it for the fun of it.
Absolutely. And he, my first exercise I did for him was hydrotherapy because I knew that would be nice on his joints and wouldn't be taxing because he was overweight. But now because he's lost the 10 kilos, his range of movement in the water is fantastic.
Yeah.
And so that now they could use weighted balls and weighted vests and weighted anklets and that sort of stuff, and he can still cope without it being extra duress on his heart. So I think it's great.
Good.
Yeah.
Story.
So I might get you to share Ben's result onto Challenge Yourself Daily, even though that's our
Sure.
group, so that people can, if they
That's
want
okay.
to use his story, that would be fantastic. Just make
Sure.
sure it's got the disclaimer and stuff on it. Is that okay?
Sure. Yep.
Thank you very much.
That's all right.
So I think we should thank you everyone for your amazing good news, and we'll definitely have some more next week. So I think we should get on with the training. So I'm trying to keep it to finishing on time. So did you want to continue on? Because Ross has put the slides together, which is really cool.
No extra special points for me tonight. So we'll go on to the training. We'll do the vocational stuff first, and then we'll talk about what happened in Sydney. So this is August. The reason why you need to get to the best position in the marketing plan, which is the supervisor at 50%, because this allows this scenario to happen. Double vacation points for the vacation this month. So if you do 1,000 volume in your group, in your total volume, you would get an extra 1,000 towards the vacation.
You need to be a fully qualified.
You need to be a fully qualified supervisor. The advantage of why you get to that position. So this gives you the double vacation points this month. It's just to the vacation, it's not your own volume. So if you were to do 3,000 volume, you would end up with 8 because you get 6, you get an extra 3. And if you were to do 5,000 volume, you would get the maximum of 5, so you'd end up with extra 10,000 volume points towards the vacation, which will be in approximately October next year.
Yep.
So I'll give you a little bit of a... That little play on your computer. Why won't it play on your computer?
I do.
Oh, Shelley, we need to get an upgrade on your computer.
Click it along.
No. Nearly started playing.
Playback error. No. Oh, we can't play the video.
That's okay, but
The video is available.
I did put it in Challenge Yourself Daily, so hopefully you saw it, and it's also came out on email. So it's a really great little, sorry for that. I really love it because it really paints that picture of what it could be like for you and your family and team to be going along.
So I have a few slides clicked out of the video anyway. So the video only goes for 1 minute. Like Shelley said, it is on Challenge Yourself Daily. So you can actually go through there and actually look at the video yourself. If you do get your emails from Herbalife, you would have got an email through the system that would have given you the video as well. So there is other ways to have seen the video. But yes, you can go back through Challenge Yourself Daily and get the extra videos from there. Right, so obviously the vacation next year, 2020, is in Hamilton Island. So fantastic place. Fantastic that we don't have to get a passport if you haven't got a passport to leave the country. Don't have to go through the immigration into another country. Your children don't have to go through that scenario, especially if you've never, like Michael's never flown in a plane yet. So, you know, this gives him an advantage. He stays within his own country. Well, he will have flown in a plane before we get to hear anyone else. So that's the fantastic advantage of having it here in Australia.
And it's really family friendly too.
Absolutely.
So, and you know what, Herbalife vacations are different to just you going there yourself, because they really pour it on. It's like a money you can't buy experience, and you just get treated so well. Lots of gifts and all sorts of amazing things. That are coming back to your room every night. Amazing food and lots of different things that they all put together. And really make it really special for not just for you, but for the kids. They really set it up great for the kids too.
Kelly, they've
Yep.
got a great gun range there too. So if you want to do some target shooting, it's really.
What are you saying, Jennifer? Just gun range, okay. Okay, so a little few photos from Hamilton Island. Obviously, you can find anywhere on the internet, but just a neat picture of what sort of a place it can really be.
I'm going to find some of this gun range. I'm going to.
But it has all activities. So obviously they've got helicopter rides if you want that sort of thing. It's that sort of a lifestyle. Lay on the beach in the hammock if you want to. Get out on the water in a canoe and paddle if you want to. So the lifestyle is there. Obviously it's going to be around. It's normally around that October point, so the weather will be beautiful up in that area. So if you're not at supervisor yet, work very hard to get there so that you can still, even if you're not there, you're not going to get the double volume points this month. That's okay, because the qualifications, which we're going to show you in a minute, you can still achieve over this next year. So vacation, as we see. So it's open to fully qualified supervisors who accumulate 80,000 vacation points during the qualification period. So 1 volume point equals 1 vacation point. So you need to do 80,000 volume points to achieve this between the qualification period, which is now August, through to the last day of July in 2020.
We've got plenty of time.
You've got plenty of time, And Jennifer and all those will tell you there's plenty of stories where people achieved it basically in the last couple of months or 3 months to go. So it is achievable. So, you know, don't concern yourself if you're like James and Amanda, you're starting out, hey, we're not qualified. It's not a problem. It still can be achieved.
Oh, that's what I like to hear.
Right, so just going to go through it in a little bit of a detail. As you can see, it's double volume month, the month we're in.
For supervisors.
For supervisors. And that volume obviously is only towards the vacation, just so you understand that, not to any other qualifications that may come up in the next 12 months. First time qualifiers bonus. So, never been on a vacation or haven't been on a vacation for the last 5 years. So you may have been on a vacation within this organisation 6 years ago. You sit within this last 5 years. So 10,000 points are taken off immediately if you're qualified as the first time vacation pointer. So therefore, think about it. 80 is now 70.
How cool's that?
Just got 70 straight up.
Yep.
Right? Fantastic that is.
People are liking that one.
Liking that straight away. Right. Member activation program. So if you have a member that does the member activation program within their first 3 months, starts within the first 3 months, and then becomes a supervisor within the qualification period. So you do not have to become a supervisor in that 3 months. So you do the member activation, which, Cara, as you understand at the moment, is the bag and the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
So if we use James and Amanda in the background, use the fact that, say, within their first 3 months, starting, they did their 500 3 months in a row, and then they repeated the same process with other people, and then somewhere within the qualification period, that person becomes a supervisor, the person above gets 2,000 extra vacation points. So every person you help start on the program, help start to become through the active member program, will help you get the supervisor. That does that gives you an extra 2,000 vacation points. So, you know, when you think about that, the more people you help, the more 2,000 points you're going to get.
I think the best thing is do it yourself if you're
Absolutely.
able to. And look, it's not a problem if you haven't, you know, like if that time has passed, it doesn't matter. But if you've done it, then people tend to copy what you're doing. That's generally what happens.
So
It's really quite good when you think about it. Means that you can, recruit people, and even the small amounts that you need for member activation, you know, and then, you know, the upline is going to, you know, when they're a supervisor, going to end up with 2,000 volume points for each person. It was 2, wasn't it? 2,000?
2,000, yes, Jennifer. Yep.
I mean, that's, you know, not too bad if you think that you could get a few people going immediately, you know, and then work with those people. And all of a sudden, you got, say, 3 people at least, you know, and you've got, you know, 6,000 points there, you know. It's quite exciting if you start learning how to use the qualification.
Yeah, well, imagine over 12 months, only just helping 5 people to do that. Well, there's an extra 10,000 in vacation points. So if you're a first-time vacation qualifier, you haven't been before, and you get that 10,000 off already. Well, that's down to 70. Then 5 people, that's down to 60. And you know, and that doesn't even include your personal volume yet. So you know, it is quite achievable.
Yep, absolutely. So, active world team bonus. Personally qualify as an active world team during the qualification period and earn a 10,000 bonus vacation points. Active world team bonus only applies for the vacation qualification. So, achieve active world team in the 12 months, which again is totally possible.
Yep.
You get another 10,000 vacation points. So now we're now down to 50.
And if you're not sure how to do active world team, go back to last week's call. We went through all the promotions,
Yep.
and it's on there. And if you're still not sure and you want us to go through it with you, or your mentor to go through it with you, just ask them and they can
Yep.
take you step by step on how to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And really the best way to understand active world team, recruit first line and help them get the supervisor.
Yep.
It's that simple. Star Rewards and Star Points program. Personally qualifies the active world team during the qualification point and earn a star and 10,000 bonus vacation points for every non-tab team that also qualifies as an active world team member. Tara, you should raise your eyes and went, what does that all mean? Basically, you become an active world team member, right? And vacation points for every non-tab team member qualifies for active world team. Qualification in the first 3 levels, you get an extra 10,000. So you become an active world team. James and Amanda become active world team. You just actually get an extra 10 on top of the 10.
Awesome.
And for example, because we're a tab team, so our sponsor Ferdinand, they wouldn't get 10,000 because we're tab team.
Okay.
So
yeah, so the tab team blocking really applies into that's concerned.
Yeah.
Right?
So it really works for the new people coming into the business. If they can see how they can get people going now, your customers, your brother, your relative, etc., you know, and get them started with you. Wow, you know, all of you could be qualifying for that.
Absolutely, yep.
Yep.
You start understanding how you can use each other's points.
Yep. So, royalty point bonus. So, earn another 10,000 vacation points if you, for every additional 1,000 royalty points, increase over your baseline of 2019. So, the best way to say it this way, for new people that are on the call, to get royalty points, obviously you have supervisors in your line. So it's based off, I think it was May, June and July of 2019. So whatever the average was, so let's say you were doing 200 royalty points because you had enough supervisors in your line, and in the next 12 months, you got yourself up to your royalty was at 1,200 royalty points, you would pick up another 10,000. So it's about helping you move yourself to a potential tab team position.
Yep.
All right.
Or active world team.
Or active world team. Yep.
So basically, you need supervisors underneath you to do this, and helping your supervisors build. So that's that one. So it's great because there's so many different ones. So I think that's what you're saying, Jennifer. There's lots of different ways people can collect points. And remember, you've also got what you're doing each month yourself under your own ID number. You and your clients.
Yep.
And members that aren't supervisor, you can utilize all of that.
So again, it comes back down to what Mark here said. Recruit first line, help that person first line get to supervisor in whatever speed they achieve. It's not about pushing them to supervisor, but help them achieve supervisor as quick as possible. Go out and help people become supervisors and keep on going. That's really what we do. We get first line, help that person get to supervisor, go out and help them get new people and help get them to supervisor. That's what this business is about.
Cool. And if you're a President's Team member, they have a special qualification for you as well. So obviously they want President's Team members to qualify and go. So it's not quite as difficult as you know, getting started for the very first time. But you know, imagine having a whole bunch of President's Team members at the vacation with you that you can pick their brains and spend some time with. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you get to come with us, Jennifer?
Yes, but I won't be coming because I've got, you know, other things usually are happening for me at that time.
Yeah, because you get the Chairman's Club vacation, don't you?
I go to the Chairman's vacation. Sometimes, as much as I'd like to do some other things, it's like fitting them in. You just get back from one thing and you're thinking, oh, I've got all these things I want to do here. So who knows? You do. I tend to make arrangements at the last minute. If I feel like I can fit it in, I say, okay, I'm off and I'm going to that. But even if I've qualified, sometimes I miss on that because I have to go to other things. So let's see what happens.
Cool.
So what I would suggest is that you print all these out and put them up. And even if you're thinking, oh, I don't think I can do it, you know, you've got absolutely nothing to lose by giving it a shot. Because guess what? You will grow and your business will grow anyway, even if you just go for it. Even if you went for it and you worked like crazy and you fell short, you would still have growth from that. And I can rest assured that if you got so close the first time, the next one you would nail it because you would learn from that and you'd have more momentum. So I would just go for it anyway. Look at some photos of Hamilton Island, look at the video, enroll your family. So if you've got partners and children and things, print it out and put it around the house. Do like a thermometer where you have to count how much volume you're doing and get them to help you color it in. There's lots of things you can do. Put it on your bathroom mirror, in the shower, or laminate it so it doesn't get wet. But, you know, you can make it really fun. I know I saw the video where someone used, what's the one called, the thing when you're talking to the phone? What's it called? Siri, sorry. Obviously, I've never used it before. Siri asked to do a reminder about Hamilton Island each month or week, so to remind that that's what you're going for. So, you know, there's lots of different things that appeals to you that gets you motivated as well, but really paint that picture. I know, Jen, tell us what you do, Jen. I know you're amazing at visualization when it comes to these sort of things. Sorry for putting you on the spot.
I've done what you've said to do. You know, I've always printed off everything, got as many photos of where it is going to be held, so you can sort of visualize yourself, you know, being there. And I always remember my first ever vacation, the cruise with Hughes. I was about 1,500 volume points short. And I thought, oh, I can't miss it just for that amount of points. So I rang around all my clients and things, and I sort of shared with them that I was going for a cruise the company is going to put on. And if they could order, you know, that little bit of extra volume, and lo and behold, I think I came in with an extra 2,000 volume points. So certainly qualified.
How much did you have to do? Like, it wasn't 80,000, was it?
No, oh, it was 120,000 we had to do. So, and we didn't have any sort of extras.
No.
It was straight 120,000 volume points. So, you know, it's amazing what you can do if you put your mind to it. It was really, really exciting. I'm so glad that I took into sort of my arms around, you know, the clients that I got on well with and shared with them how exciting it would be if I could qualify. And I certainly, you know, bring them back some photos and share with them what happened and all that sort of thing. And lo and behold, like I said, I got the extra 2,000 volume points, so I romped it in. So, and I did that I think on the third vacation, I think it was an island holiday. I think it might have been Bali. And I was a little bit short there again. I encumbered, you know, some of my clients, and we gathered around, and they certainly gave me that little bit extra. It wasn't as much as the first time round, but you know, I got myself qualified, Mike, and brought them back a little gift for people that helped me. And so it was really very rewarding, and we had great friendship. And the actual vacation themselves, being able to hang around with, you know, all the president's team and all that sort of thing, and all the other people that qualified, you learn so much from those sort of things. And Herbalife spoil you like crazy, absolutely spoil you. So well worthwhile going for.
Well, thank you very much, Jan. I bet everyone's more excited. Who's excited about this vacation? So let's just go for it. I'd love to be there. I can see us all around the pool, sipping pina coladas with or without alcohol, and you know, swimming in the pool, having lots of fun with all the kids. So how cool would that be?
Absolutely.
Something Christy said was really great. She said it was one, she looked back and she thought it was a vacation where she got on a plane. She was there in a short time. She said within about, I think, 40 minutes of getting off the plane, she was fully installed in the hotel room, not going through customs, not having to show a passport. And then there were so many activities and things. And apparently the kids eat for free. And so, you know, it's still the same, free, you know. So, you know, there's a lot of things about, you know, Hamilton Island for people to go to. And there's a lot of those things you don't think about if you've been to Indonesia and places, and you can be standing around there waiting on the line to get through passport control for, you know, sometimes an hour and a half, but mostly it's, you know, it's easier than that. But I have been hanging around it sometimes, you know, for a long, long time. So I thought it was really interesting that she said that, because those things, they really do count. You you get off the plane, you can get going. If you do take the family, they can get going. And I'm sure that's an amazing blessing if they're still doing that free food for the kids. So I didn't know that's what Christy said. So I don't want to promise that's going to happen. Maybe you need to check that one out with the, you know, when you find out which hotel it is. But that would be great, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I can't wait. So thank you everyone for painting the picture for the vacation. So print it out, get your thermometer going. I'll try and create one, or maybe Cara can help me. I'm not so good at that. We'll work it out so that we can start filling it in as we go along.
Absolutely.
Cool. So what's next?
So, Sydney, you jump on a plane on a Friday afternoon. Some of us obviously had to jump on a couple of planes, Jennifer, didn't they? and got delayed and moved around and
Pay more for the ticket.
yeah, got a bit of wind in the area. Went to a city that was like blowing a gale to learn some training.
Yeah.
It's what you do when you want to find some information out. So we went to Sydney, obviously, for training on Saturday to see Jason Namus, sorry, is that right? About some Nutrition Club training. So we'll go through some stuff. So this was Jason on stage in his nice Larry blue jacket. Do you want to talk, or do you want Lindy to go first? Because I got Lindy's slides up.
That's it. I love these shoes. His shoes were like kind of like and they had like little spikes all over them.
It was like Lego.
Yeah, I actually expanded this photo and showed the girls. So look at these shoes.
I think he had one of Gary's old jackets. Remember, Gary used to wear jackets like that all the time. Gary must have been before his time.
Yeah.
So he was background in bodybuilding and security and work. Oh, okay, cool.
Right,
Great.
so do you want Lindy? I've got Lindy's photos up next.
Okay, so Lindy, you ready to share?
Yeah, why not?
Just don't steal all the thunder.
Okay, sure.
So these are some of the photos that Lindy sent through of the experience and the time that she had down there.
It was great. I really liked it. I mean, it was really hard being in a room. There were so many people. It's probably, you know, having gone up there every month, that's probably the most amount of people that I've ever seen.
So there was 270, is that right?
270, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, there's talk of getting a bigger venue, just trying to find some parking because it's just, a little bit crazy. Yeah, it's funny, you know, like most of the time when I go to the STSs, I'm there writing like crazy, and I started to, and then I went, no, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to really listen, because he was so, like, he looks scary, doesn't he, with all the, I mean, they call him the tattered preds for a reason, but, you know, he's was a really nice, down-to-earth bloke. I thought he was really good. So I suppose there's a few things I got out of it, but the like getting into like everyone says, getting into massive action, and don't second guess yourself. Just go out there and do it, because if you don't do it, someone else will. And particularly, he really seemed to go onto a little bit on the social media about cutting out the negativity and attention seeking that people do with some of their posts. Because, you know, you have to be careful what you post, because if you've got downline, you don't want them to replicate. I mean, for instance, if your downline's going a little bit slow, then you have to be a little bit introspective and look at yourself and see what you're doing, because they're just going to be copying what you do. And I thought another interesting thing that, for my take on it, was the social perspective. He was talking about different personalities and people, and learning how to manage. You need to learn how to manage different personalities so that you all communicate well, and picking each other's strengths, like you were saying on some previous sessions, so that you're not trying to do everything yourself, picking someone who can help balance the wheel. And and so then after that, we just sort of all, by the time everyone finished and we packed, all the chairs and things away, then we all just split into different cars and went into Centrepoint Tower. And that was interesting because I'm scared of heights, so I was squashed in the middle of everyone in the lift and just hoping for the best.
Mm-hmm.
Marcel cracking some bad jokes, and that was interesting in itself, really. So there were lots of tables, and then I just sort of thought, I'll just put my bag and sit down here. And I was sitting at the table next to Jason, and there was Marcel and Lucy and Blaine and another lady who I can never pronounce her name. And it was a beautiful view. It was really lovely. It was really nice. We didn't really do much Herbalife talk. I think he was a little bit drained after a big day of talking to everybody. So it was more like, where have you been and what are you doing and what are your plans and how much longer do you have? And he was excited. He was going up to walk on the Harbour Bridge walk. But the funniest thing, because you sort of forget about people when they're coming to tour in another country, and he was really keen to see a kangaroo and hug it. So I said, I don't think you can really hug a kangaroo. Yeah, no, that was funny, hey. So yeah, so it was just nice to talk, to him and about his dog and everyone, because Blaine's from the States, so he was talking about their time in the States, and it was nice and relaxed, and he seemed to really like it. He was really keen and wanted to come and visit, and was excited to have his photo with Jennifer. He mentioned that, so he was very excited. Yeah.
So, Lindy, just to put it in perspective, you live in Canberra. What's the drive from Canberra to Sydney?
Depending on traffic, roughly it's around 3.5 hours one way. So I just came and stayed with Jill's got a place at the foot of the Blue Mountains, so I stayed there because it's just icy and too much roadkill, and this time of year it's a little bit, well, with all the snow anyway, it's been a bit dangerous. And then we just got up the next morning with sleep, so that was a little bit scary. I was driving very gingerly along the road, but even so, that was about an hour's drive just to get to Homebush, and then park there and for the day and into town. And then on the way back, just the fellow in the cab was interested in the product, so that was really nice. And they all went on partying on afterwards, but I knew I had to get a good night's sleep, get up and do the drive the next morning, so I didn't want to fall asleep on the wheel or there was talk of getting stuck at Goulburn with all the snow, but thankfully we got through. So yeah, very cold when we got home, really cold, and you can see the snow on the mountains. It was actually very pretty, but it was a wonderful day. And it's really nice because on these calls, seeing Jennifer and yourself, and it's all really good doing the Zoom, but I'm just more of a person to person. So it's so much nice being able to catch up with you and Ross and meeting Jenny. And even though the music was loud and I felt like I was a bit deaf, it was really nice to have those moments with everybody, and it was lovely. And even if the only thing, if you're someone new going to something like this, even if the only thing you got out of it was put all your plans into massive action, the best thing you go in there is the social aspect of meeting everybody who's got the same goal, and meeting different people and finding out what they do and how they got their business or how they got started. Like, there's always a new story, and I think that's what I love the most about it. There's no judgment, and that's nice too. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Lindy.
So looking forward to next month.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so we'll continue on. So Jennifer, you can add as we go if you like. So we just basically got the slides that Jason shared about how he builds his business in his area. So he lives in country US. So it was like I think he's in Nashville at the moment. That's where he's moved to. But it was Kansas.
Yeah, he was at Kansas for a while.
Yeah, so kind of country town, which I thought was quite relative to a lot of Australia, and how they went about that. So this is a nutrition club concept, which they kind of called a smoothie bar, kind of like a sports bar, where people can come and build that community. So we're going to go through it, I'm not saying that you have to do this model, but you can probably learn a few things from it that you could even implement without actually having to have a club. But if you've got a club or you're looking at doing one, that's fine too.
And sorry to interrupt you, but I think one of the best things that he was saying, and you probably might cover it anyway, but because he was talking about other companies and how they might call things a shake, and so then your automatic reaction is to think of something cheap takeaway, so then calling that a smoothie, or rather than calling this, then I thought he brought it down to everyday level, and I really liked that. It was really good.
Or a shake is fast food and a smoothie was healthy. That's how.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's
and it's difficult to change the language because we've been trying that since we've come back to change, not use the word shake, called smoothie. And because we're all so ingrained in what we say, it is difficult to slowly change a word and pick yourself up.
Yeah.
It was very good to listen to what he said where that was concerned.
Absolutely, yeah.
So just a few slides of what he did. This is sort of who he is. So if you have a look at it, he basically is no different than anybody else. At some point in his life, he was a bodybuilder. As you can see down on that right-hand side, that was what he wanted to do. And party boy, played with the girls, worked behind a bar, went to uni to was an IT style course, business degree. And where this all his changes, he'd been asked for a couple of years, nearly 4 years, would he want to do Herbalife, and it wasn't for him. Where his life changed is when he was working behind the bar, roughly doing 12 hours a week. He was making about $4,500 a month because he was working in a high-end style nightclub bar. Did his degree, like everybody else, got to go to work, go and get a job, went to the corporate world, was getting $2,000 a month. So he went from working 12 hours a week, getting $4,500 a month, to a corporate world where you're doing your 40 plus hours a week, making $2,000. So he said, this is crazy. It just happened that he ran into somebody that had been asking him for a while, and he said, well, why don't you come and stay with me? I'll talk about some of the concepts they're doing. And he walked in and went, if this is what you do and this is what you're creating, I'm crazy doing what I'm doing. Basically is the principle. And then he learned, he went and worked, he let him live with the guy.
Because he only had a bag full of clothes, he didn't have anything else.
Yeah, had a garbage bag full of clothes, went and lived with the guy. Guy basically worked within his club basically for nothing because he was very free food and board, and then picked up the concept and then built it from there. Like everybody else, he's had many ups and downs in his life. Like he said, he's been one of those people that, did the stuff you're not supposed to do, drink the alcohol, take the drugs, do whatever. Life is life, and we all go through it. And it's good to understand that when you see someone that looks to be very successful, that they've actually gone through tough times, like life, like we all do from time to time. So that's what he roughly looked like. And like he tried to imply, February 18 in 1 year, so roughly what's that 5-week challenge, he went from bare gut to six-pack. Now, admittedly, you've got to remember, he was a bodybuilder, so he would have had some of that underneath, but still, it wasn't just taking smoothies. Obviously, it takes work. So again, whatever you want to achieve is achievable. It depends on what you put into it. It's really what he was trying to get through. What you put in is what you get out. And how much effort you put in is what you achieve. All right? So, you know what I mean? So it is possible to achieve whatever you want to achieve. He now lives in an environment where that's a shot out of his master bedroom. And he said, I don't sleep with the blinds closed because I get that sun comes up into my room every morning, and that's what his life, and that's what he wanted to achieve.
He likes to wake up with the sun.
He did the adventure thing, jump out of a plane. Like I said,
he was afraid of heights.
Afraid of heights. Like I said to Shelley, I probably still wouldn't jump out of a perfectly good airplane with a parachute on my back if I don't have to. But I have actually watched him talk about the Will Smith story. If you haven't looked that up, look up Will Smith jumping out of a plane storyline, and he'll go through that with you. And he said it's exactly the same thing. So I've actually seen that video a couple of times on Will Smith. I think it's quite motivating what Will Smith talks about in that video.
I'd jump out of a plane.
Yeah, good luck.
Me too.
Hamilton Island, skydive.
So this is who he is, really, yeah, like Lindy said, he can look like, well, my God, he's got tattoos all over him. He's called Tatted Prez for a reason, because he's got tattoos on him. You can look him up on Instagram. If you go back to Instagram Tatted Prez, which is what sets up there, That's his Instagram page. If you want to have a look at what he does. But yeah, so look, really down to earth sort of guy, very much a straight talker. Was quite very easy to listen to, and then go from there. So I have the next lot of slides. Do you want to say anything else before I go on to just the smoothie
No,
bar?
well, I've got the notes, so I'll just
All right. So, Nutrition Club, if you don't understand, the model virtually is we would have a club, people would come in, they would buy a shake or a smoothie. They would then sit around, get a wellness evaluation, and then it virtually happens a lot in Asian countries, in Hispanic countries, those sort of countries, which you could almost think as, don't want to say it third world, but that lower income area. Excuse me. So he's actually done it in what we would call Middle America, where they watch football and drink beer and that sort of lifestyle. Same as what Australia can be basically. We all go and watch football, we all drink beer, we all do whatever. We don't, but yes, I know I'm going to say you do. Stop shaking your head, Cara, I know you do. So he's basically come up with a concept of how they could work that in those environments. Yeah, you can read that for a second.
Okay, so this is, if someone was looking for the perfect location, I love that he'd really thought about this. He'd done heaps of research on the size that you should be looking for approximately. He said you can go smaller, it's okay. What you should spend a month maximum. So thinking about our lifestyle centre, we spend $625 a month rent. So obviously ours is a lot lower, but I know with the Sydney people were talking about how high their rent is for so much smaller space. He said what you do is you Google traffic. So you Google the traffic count at the intersection of where you're looking at to see what sort of traffic goes by on a daily basis to know if that's a good spot for you to be. And I know thinking about Gympie, it's kind of a little bit of a different sort of area, the way that it's kind of spread out and hills and where people work. And I was, kind of running through where, we're talking a little bit about the perfect location. He puts some money into the club to make it look great. It's not a pop-up. So it's something where it looks great. It's not massively branded, and you'll see some photos of that. It's very simple, some TV screens, free Wi-Fi to attract people in. And it really does look a lot like a sports bar where people can come in and he's really trying to get people in 3 times in the first week and is very good at doing it. So the other thing is if you, like a lot of places that you can lease, if you improve it, they can give you some money back. So he was giving examples of what he spent on a club and how much money he got back from the landlord through the tenant improvement. So there's some of the things that you can ask about.
So yeah, it's with negotiation, and as you can see on the screen there, he talked in square feet, but I've converted it back to square meters on purpose for anyone, because he was talking in square feet on a lot of the stuff. So I just did a conversion, and so it's basically just over 100 to 140 square meters as a building size or a footage size of where the building would be.
He said you could go smaller if it was the right kind of feel and a long thing where you could put a long bar and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and remember too, the one thing you said was whatever you do, just don't do it on your own, because then you're just going back into a 9-to-5 sort of work thing, and that will put people off. Make sure you just have a few of you getting into it as well, which I thought was a good tip.
Yeah.
So some action steps. So like Shelley said, you would go into the new landlord and say, hey, can I get my first 90 days for free? So no rent for 90 days. And especially in certain areas where you may find, take Gympie, for example. And I know there's a lot of towns up and down Queensland that are very much like that, where there's so many vacant shops. So you can go into certain landlords. Now, a landlord might not want to, whatever the case may be. It's part of that negotiation process. And you may not get 90 days, but that's basically what you're looking at.
We got 1 month free with the thing when we did. So we had 1 month to get ourselves organised, which I really appreciate. I would have loved 3 months. That would have been great. Yep. But that's okay.
Yep. Obviously, when he's talking these, they're talking in lots of probably larger cities in some respects. Make sure there's not another club too close. And they were all, so they're talking basically that 3 mile radius that they talk about miles. There's no other club next, right on top of you, or whatever the case may be. Immediately after you sign your lease, get business cards made, get on Facebook page made, and start promoting massively. Even though you haven't got your club up and running yet, you're massively promoting that we're going to open on whatever date. Really promote before you start. And then cover every single business you can with, like again, he says, massive action equals massive results. Everything we talk about within Herbalife, it comes down to that. You do the work, you get the reward. You go out and do massive action, you get the people to what you're doing. Whatever it is you do, that it's exactly the same process.
So even if, so for example, with our lifestyle centre, if you had an office or a centre or something like that, you can still get your business cards made, a Facebook page made for that, and start promoting. You can still do that. So I think, you know, don't think, I don't want to do a nutrition club. I can't use some of these things he's talking about. So as we go along, I want to show you that you can still implement some of these techniques into your business immediately to help improve what you're doing.
Shelley, could I say a few words?
Yeah,
Yep.
sure.
I don't know if it's the right time if I'm interfering with, you know, the process here. It is interesting when you don't see what he had to say. I'm wondering how Michael and Cara. No, Michael and his wife. No, I've got the wrong ones down. James and Amanda. I'm wondering how James and Amanda are relating to what we're seeing when they didn't see what we saw. So, you know, I don't know if James and Amanda know a lot about, you know, the nutrition clubs that we started, like, you know, whatever they were. I'll pick a number 20 years ago in Mexico. And they were basically started, you know, as a way of selling shakes by the glass to people from a poorer area. And anyway, that ended up taking Herbalife in Mexico to Mexico being one of our biggest countries. And so we call this like another leg of the chair, how to do Herbalife. You know, you can have straight retail sales. You know, you can, you know, know lots of people and just sell them the product. You know, there's so many different ways. So all these things are what we call another leg of the chair, an idea that you can get, how could I do this business? So as an example, Mark and Lynette, Mark said he related to that when he heard that yesterday. Some things he doesn't relate about the business because maybe some people are shyer in some ways, you know, and they think, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know any poor people to start a poor people's nutrition club, you know, but it can be done in so many different ways. You just have to learn, as we say, that leg of the chair can be molded the way, if you get the basic precept, you know, concept of it, you can mold that. So a poor nutrition club turned into be a sophisticated nutrition club in America where they've got the social elite going and talking, you know, all kinds of carbs and products and, you know, and everything about nutrition. So, you know, Dan Waldron's got one where he's got these absolute elite executives going to a kind of cafe club. So I'm just trying to explain this so we now go into what Jason Nemes has got. So did you take photos, Shelley? Because I've got some on my the photos of his bar. I'd like you to show those, at least you did before, and I missed it. When I saw, you know, his bar, straight away I thought of every American movie you see or every American TV show where the guys go in after work and they sit at the long counter bar, you know, and they talk about football, have a few beers, and they've got their general people they know all the time. And it just looked like that, an American bar, excepting they were selling shakes. Can you imagine? You know, you wouldn't have thought that kind of was going to be or possible. And I actually, when I asked my question, thought that they were, when I saw those recipes, I thought he was making, you know, biscuits and things with it, you know, like he had something like a cinnamon roll shake or something or other. But then, you know, someone pointed out to me, no, like, that's just the flavour of the shake. So all they're doing is tea and shakes, which is even more amazing. And so, you know, Mark said, that Lynette's husband, Mark said, you know, yeah, I feel I could do that because I'm used to, you know, and sitting around with the guys and talking football or cards or this or that. So it was interesting if you could imagine that concept, what you see in the movies of how this was. For me, the first thing I thought about it being in the Gold Coast was it'd be something that would work really well, you know, around the surface area, you know, if you, I mean, all this is costs, of course, if you could find something in an area, because there you've got hippies, your surfies, you know, all the people would be interested in nutrition. you know, and you've got the young people that all live there because they live there because they want to surf. They live there because their jobs are there. They live there because most of them are working behind the bars at the clubs, you know. So here you have a chance to go and sponsor, hey, you know, has anybody worked behind a bar before, you know, and been a waitress? And yet, hey, would you like a job, and which becomes your business that you can now, you know, transfer into out from alcohol, where you see people acting crazy all the time, and get into nutrition. And a lot of people be saying yes. So the first thing I thought was, well, everybody's going to go to every club or bar or something and start sponsoring, you know, people that have been bar people. So these are another leg of the chair and ideas how you can build your business, because all those people have got to do is whether you like the concept, you know, you've got a few people that work behind that bar, you know, you're chatting to the people like it would be if it was an alcohol bar, and they don't do a wellness evaluation straight away. They kind of wait a few days, you know, when they, you know, somebody's, you know, want to know more about it or whatever, they say, hey, how about we do a wellness evaluation with you? Oh, a few more days, or hey, well, you want to be a regular customer and get on the whole program because, you know, and what about Auntie Mary and your sister and your kids and all the rest of it? So you've got retail sales straight off, shakes over the bar, money coming in straight away. At the same time, then they can become really regular customers going on a whole program. And some of those people that come to you, you haven't had to go and find them because they walk in to get a shake. They may say, hey, this health and nutrition business sounds good. So you've got a chance out of this, you know, to do the business in so many ways. So I just thought I wanted to say that. I don't know if it made it any clearer, but for me, I could see it so clearly. Lynette could quite understand in the beginning. You know, she couldn't, you know, work out when they were saying it's, you know, a separate business. And I was trying to explain, because you've got a retail sales business of people coming in, just buying the shakes and stuff, sitting there like a coffee shop, maybe buying another shake later, chatting to their friends, coming there regularly because they don't want to go to bars. You know, I can see it being amazing, you know. So I'll stop talking, so I don't want to take up your time.
Okay, thank you very much, Jennifer. So that gives everyone a really good understanding of
what they used to be and what they're
and
becoming.
what's happened and how it began, and how it's evolving all the time. So
So basically, again, what we said before: promote. Boost posts on Facebook. He talked about tea drops. Do you want to sort of quickly explain that?
So basically, I even saw some of these things of what we could do with our centre, or even just your business in general. You could still implement some of these even if you weren't ready to do a smoothie bar yet, or if it might not be your thing, that's okay. You can still implement some of these things too. So the tea drops were, they'd go and approach a local business, and say, hey, you've been pre-selected, and they'd basically make a full strength tea lift off an aloe. And they'd go and see, it was usually businesses that had 2, 3, maybe up to 5 employees, not too many, because obviously you're giving them samples of the products to try. And then they'd actually do a Facebook Live while the people, so that would help promote that business. I can see Cara clicking with this because I know you have that background. So you're promoting the business, and then you'd get them to nominate another business to go to on the live. And so then all of a sudden you'd be going around to businesses, and they're getting this immediate result, because they're getting, imagine someone having a full lift of tea and aloe in a drink, and what they would feel from that. So I thought that was really cool.
I think we'd have to try that because you know that the lift off, I think, with a regular tea, I should have actually at the time, it wasn't until afterwards I should have asked what flavours, because they've got lots of teas and lots of aloe flavours. So I didn't actually think to ask at the time, what flavour are you doing? Because it
probably doesn't matter too much, and we have got the menu coming up too. And basically, hey, we're a brand new local business in town, or I've just started my business. So just think about, you can still, if you've got access to a lifestyle centre, you use that. Hey, come along, because really it is new. 2 years is still new. Most people don't even know about it. This business has been pre-selected. Bring some free energy drinks. What time is best for you, morning or lunch? And basically you bring it to them, do the live, help promote their business, get them to nominate another business. And he said it's good to be in with other local businesses in the area. You support each other. Then basically anyone that comes to the club, so we can still do this with the centre, they get $1 off when they check in on Facebook. So imagine encouraging everyone to check in to your nutrition club or lifestyle centre every single time. They get $1 off. And then basically, so I'm just having a look here.
So if they gave, so we're talking when we talk about $1 off for the first time visitors who give your club a 5-star on Facebook. So again, to be you get a 5-star on Facebook, you obviously got a business or a fan page. So therefore, when you got your 5 stars, someone clicked and said, "Hey, I agree with that company, that group. I love that Gympie Lifestyle Centre. I'm going to give them 5 stars on Facebook because that's their own face." They'll give them $1. They gave them $1 off and they come and got a smoothie. All right. So you can't do that on a personal Facebook page, but if you had your own fan page, you could create that same sort of style of thing that way.
Yeah, and he calls it an energy drink, not tea. And he said some people are coming twice a day, so depending on the shifts and things like that. He would give a coupon, so you go out, walking, and giving a coupon for the first time free, then 50% off for the second time, and then $2 off that had an expiration date of 6 days out. And the key to that one with the coupon code is that he was getting people to come 3 times within the first week, and he said that's when they really notice a difference with the results. So even imagine people coming into the centre or coming to visit you 3 times in 1 week, and you're giving them enough product to get a result to try. If they didn't come back, they're going to notice a difference. They're going to have as much energy, but generally from then after that 3rd time is when you don't want to be coming off too salesy. So that wellness profile conversation came in the 2nd or 3rd time they came in. So you want them to know what you offer because no one else does what we do, basically.
Yep. So, so some of their club goals. Go back one. So the club of the club goals. So some of the goals were they were looking within a club to be doing 20,000 volumes a month.
Well, that's fantastic, isn't it?
How cool is that? Who would like to be doing 20,000 a month?
And can you imagine if you've got downline, you sponsor some of your friends and relatives, and somebody says, hey, I can relate to this particular style, or whatever it is. But you have a few people, and how many clubs did Jason say he had? Do you remember the number Jason said he had?
I think it was like 100,
something like that.
150 or something, wasn't it? It was huge.
150 clubs with his own downline, where he makes, either a wholesale or royalty, the income from that, and they're doing 20,000 volume points a month. Do your mathematics.
Yep.
Can you imagine why he's got the president's team so far? So you can understand the concept that when you get a lot of people in your team, whether they do a club or they do regular business, whatever, the more people in your team, it's helping you build yourself up. And then you're working with them and they have the same process of building up through the business the same as you.
And he basically said by the 5th or 6th time that they've come in to see you, and you can look at this as a client or someone coming into some event that you're doing or your club, they're asking you more about it. I wish you could be open at 6 or 7 a.m. for breakfast and things like that. And then you say, you can actually buy the products to have at home. So just like we run Fit Club, someone's trying the shake after it. By the way, do you know you could actually purchase them to have at home, or why don't you come in for a wellness evaluation? So there's lots of ways you can use some of these concepts immediately if you're not ready to do a nutrition club or it's something you don't want to do. I want you to think really about some of the things he's saying that you could help with your business now. I think it's really, really important.
So they're talking about doing roughly 100 consumptions daily as your minimum. Get the club up and profiting to at least doing $10,000 a month in profit. And the word is should be ran there. Get the club run by downline as soon as possible, where you can step away so you can choose to go and do other things and maybe look at help creating a new one. So it's about working with your downline to get your downline up and running and help them build the club up and help them go from there.
And so consumption is people coming in to buy a smoothie and that. So I think there's a menu.
Yep. So there's a rough menu of what they're talking about. And remembering when you look at that menu, we are talking America and we are talking lots of other flavors that we don't currently have. So they go, where do they? So remember, and most of the product they did, where they could, it was virtually all Herbalife being produced and consumed. Obviously, there would be a slight areas where they might have to do some additives, but where possible, it was pretty well all Herbalife. All right. So we could still do the same thing. Look, America does have a lot more flavors than we do, but that's not to say you couldn't achieve something very, very similar with. When you think about it, we actually have 5, 6, 7 flavors here in Australia anyway. If you add on the 5 normal, the select, and the sport, you already have 5. You have a rebuild to make 8. You know what I mean? When you think about it, you already have 8 flavors straight up just in shakes or smoothie componentry as a base to start with, without adding in active fibers and all the other things that you could do things with if you needed to.
Cool. So this menu, which has got 4 steps to it, is around $10. So you can imagine first time they come in for free, then the second time they get 50% off, and then the third time they get $2 off as long as they have it within 6 days, so that you know you've got them within that first week to 10 days, you're getting them in 3 times. So they basically have an aloe shot, then they're picking a Herbie beverage, then there's a lift off with that, and then they get a shake. So they're actually getting 4 products, which obviously gives them a fairly obvious result.
So you look at what they're saying there. It says pick your aloe shot. So obviously they've got mango, we've got original, they've got cranberry, and we've got mandarin the same. Pick your energy. They're not calling it a tea.
Yeah.
They're not calling it a tea. They are calling it pick your energy.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously it is tea. It's original green tea or whatever it is, but they're not calling it a tea. They're calling it an energy hit.
Yeah.
All right. And then obviously add your boost. So where you look at it across there, they would be your lift-off range. Now, at the moment, we do have one, but they would be your lift-off range, so you can add a boost to know from there, and then obviously you pick your shake flavour after that.
Cool. So I'm just looking here. So,
all right, so I'll show you some photos of what it is. So the best way to explain this is what he said is imagine a sports bar. Imagine an actual proper sports bar, serving alcohol, bit of music playing in the background. You could maybe no pool tables, but in principle, that's what we're talking about. An upper class style sports bar, TV on the wall, and everybody said, well, what do you play on the wall? Normal television. The only thing that represents Herbalife in the event is a smoothie in the club. No banners, no posters, no flash out it's Herbalife. No, they might have a few wellness before and after somewhere on a wall. You might have it strategically flipped a few of those from time to time, but it's a sports bar concept with no alcohol. It's the best way to do it. The other way, if you remember the TV series Cheers, somebody comes into the place, everybody knows your name, so that when Mary Jane walks in the door, hey Mary Jane, how you going? Do you want your whatever style shake today? Yes, you're already getting that familiarization. It's that style of person that would make this one work 1,000%.
Cool. So you're saying that it's basically a relationship-based company. You want to create a great environment. It goes from being transactional, like in a normal coffee shop or stuff like that, to being a relational business where you're building relationships. Really simple setup, as you can see. It's super simple, and so people are making the shakes and the smoothies while they can actually look at the people. So that's it. That's face to face, and you're getting. That's no worries, Lindy. Thank you for being on call, darling, and we will send out the recording anyway.
So if you look in the background, you may not be able to see on that wall, there's selective words, like on the back of the wall that says change your mind, change your mindset, change your life. Just really slight tactical things in those areas. It's a proper bar setup, so sit-down tables. You can see that the shakes aren't blatantly pushed out. They're slightly hidden behind the bar, so therefore from the outside world, because I'm going to show you another photo in a minute, you're going to say, oh, there's no covers on the windows. So none of that is blatantly seen from the outside. So this sort of thing here, people sitting around, they've got their straws. The blenders are here on the counter. So your shakes are being made straight in front of the client. It's made straight in front of you. Bang, make a shake, pour it out. Here's your smoothie. That's what's going on. As you can see, the windows are not blocked. So obviously we understand there's been a rule change a couple of months back. Well, we do need to get 100% clarification on that rule change and see that in writing. But as you can see, that's a better shot of it. You can see the girl's there. She's making the shakes for the clients right there and then. There's nothing else that says Herbalife around except the shake container that she's picking up to take the product out of.
Cool. So you get a separate bank account for the club, for the running of the club. Yes, you have to go through council and do all the usual things. And he said it's really good to build relationships for the councils. And he said, and pretty much there's a lot of people in the council that probably need the products anyway. So if you just give them some free stuff, it's fun.
It's good if you know someone that's on the council, but yeah, you can bribe that around later. Yeah, right.
Kind of handy, isn't it?
Yeah. So as you can see, this is what they're doing. So it's really, when you think about it, it's very similar to what you would see if you're shopping centre at the moment, where you see a Boost Juice, but with a bar setup,
I
with
was
a
going to
TV and
say,
an atmosphere.
you could, you know, with all the mums, the first thing they do is they pick up the kids today from school and they go shopping, you know, and then all the kids want something to eat.
That's
Oh,
right.
yes, I want that, you know. Can you imagine, like the nutrition club that I saw, I think I sent you some photos in New Zealand. It was actually in, like, if you could imagine a big Woolworths or Coles, and there was like a dividing glass wall, and they had some little offices let out. They had this nutrition club at the, you know, the end of the row, and you could look through the glass window and you could, you know, you were basically under the same roof as, say, Woolworths or Coles, that type of thing. And so, you know, you can imagine like this, where that you've got your, depending on rents, all these things, you know, you've got your shake bar, and people then take the kids to have a shake in the afternoon after school, you know, etc. So there's a lot of things that you can think about where you could incorporate workers as well as kids, getting something healthy, you know, promote that. You could have the kids end of the bar or something like this, you know, so that the kids start saying, oh, I don't want to go there, Mum, you know, etc. You know, there's a lot of things when you, as I say, mold that leg of the chair. You want it square, you want it straight, you want it round, how you're going to put this into action. And it depends on your personality, what you feel you'd like to do. If you do this, and for some people, a lot of people can say it's not my thing, I'm not going to do it. You know, it's just another leg of the chair.
Definitely. So it's not something you have to do, but if this is, you might have someone in your team that suits them to a T, but it does require a little bit of outlay and time commitment. So Jason recommended that you get your morning session busy and your lunchtime session busy. So if I was thinking Gympie, I think let's get the lunchtime nailed before you would add on extra shifts, and then start getting people to help, and you would build it up that way, like thinking smart that way.
And again, what you got to remember is what Jennifer was just saying before. Also, you got to remember you would do this working with, and he made it fairly clear, downline, not sideline. It worked better with your downline, so your downline then can potentially take over the club, can build their own business up, can help that. You're working in, and then obviously depending on the level of commitment you put in at the beginning, would also depend on the level of the outtake out of that. And there was variations of different models. So the variation of different models would be, I may have a brand new member or new member that really can't afford product. Not a problem. They can use my product, but their profit level off that product would be a lot lower. They may only get $2 instead of whatever the case may be. There's a lot of situations where they would work together, and the primary line and the line underneath would go in virtually split, and you would take your own stock in. So when it's your turn to be in the shift in the smoothie bar, you bring your own product, you bring your own shakes, you bring whatever. So it's your product being brought in. So that's where your consumption is coming from. You're getting the money back for your product. You go and buy new products, so it becomes personal volume usage. So there is lots of different concepts, like Jennifer was saying, depending on how you would want to run it. The biggest thing I said to Shelley was we would need to do a lot of talking, a lot of sit down, a lot of things we've looked at. We probably have driven around Gympie in the last 48 hours and looked at different areas and go, yes, no, whatever the case may be. Doesn't mean we'll even do it anyway, but we still would do a lot of talking before I would jump in and go and do that track.
So just some other things for anyone that is thinking about doing it. He doesn't do the wellness evaluations at the smoothie bar. He books them separately. Once they're a client, then they start doing results, not beforehand. And the smoothie bar is its own business in itself. So I'm just going through here.
So imagine that. Best way to explain that, you've gone and opened up a business that sells shakes or smoothies, and you're using Herbalife as your base ingredient. That's how you have to think of this. All right? So it's an independent business, but you are using Herbalife as your base ingredient to create your teas, your energy drinks, and all that sort of stuff from there.
And his pitch was really basic. Hi, my name's Jason. I've just opened a smoothie bar in the community. Here's a voucher.
Yep.
And he kept it simple, and lots of invitations getting out there. And he said hustling and doing the work. And he said learning about people and how to coach them. That's really the biggest skill. And failure is the formula to success. So, it's okay to make mistakes. and that's what you learn from. So I think that was pretty much it.
So if you look at the young, very clean-shaven young man there behind that bar, they have one of the very successful nutrition shacks in the area. Now, this gentleman, this club where they're running didn't work. Where they put it, it wouldn't work. It wasn't making success. And this is one of Jason's downlines, and he said, "Oh, I'm prepared to go out there and have a go." It is now one of the most successful. Why? Because again, it's the character and the social concept of the person behind the bar that makes it work. The person that can recognise and chat and talk to the people and has that social atmosphere. So again, it's when you walk in, the person walks the door, can talk to someone. So it's your attitude behind that environment that will build the club. So you have to work out, are you that style of person or you're not? Is it what you could do or couldn't do? You know what I mean? And like Jason said, in certain areas, some people weren't successful for it. We're not right for that environment. So you've got to consider that where that's concerned. You know, there's another shot, Jason, of what they're doing. As you can see, there's TVs on the background, and everybody else in the room, what are they playing? Normal TV. Why? Because who are you supplying it to? Normal, everyday, in their case, American people that want to go and relax and watch whatever's on the TV. Whether you think about it, you right now, you're the moment. Hog's Breath Cafe. You walk into Hog's Breath, sit down and get a meal. What's on the wall? TVs. What do they play? Sports video clips of people running down snow skis, bit of television, bit of whatever. You have to work your concept, but that's what is on the wall. And what do you do when you're in those places? You're sitting, oh, look at that, that's exciting. Yeah, it's not nothing pushed about Herbalife and that sort of thing. So it's an atmosphere change, social gathering, talking to people.
Building relationships.
Building relationships.
Can you imagine these, for anyone, who lived around a university, university people would be just the kind of people, or if you had any big TAFEs or anything around with overseas students, and you had, a nutrition club nearby, everybody's into health today. These people would go and hang out, do their homework, do their computer work and sit around and buy a shake or two, take one home with them or something. So many ideas. And that's what Herbalife's about. It's just thinking how we've evolved over 40 years to doing the most amazing things we never thought would happen, to see there'd be these eventual around America and everywhere else around the world, actual bars where you go and get a Herbalife shake, as well as, nutrition clubs for the poor, selling shakes just at the school to the school kids or something. It's just evolving all the time. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, Jennifer's talking about universities there. In one of their areas where they've got one, there's a Christian-style university in America where if the students are caught in Facebook world with drink of an alcohol, they're banned for 12 months from the university. They're kicked out. So the club works very well. And in those places, they actually open the club till 9 o'clock or later at night because the university students can come and hang out.
Use the Wi-Fi.
Hang out, club environment, but they're drinking something healthy and so they've gone to a bar, but a healthy bar.
That's right.
So those concepts are there.
Cool. So is there any more photos?
I think only Mark Hughes.
Cool. No, only Mark Hughes.
Only Mark Hughes.
Okay.
Only Mark Hughes.
So look, there's a lot more we could go into detail, but I want you to think about what sort of things, even if you have a Facebook page or a centre that you can go to where you can make that work better for you, invite more people into it and use some of these concepts. I love the idea of the tea drop and going to businesses and things. I think that's something that we could definitely implement right now and improve. How can we improve our centre right now? And then maybe involve into other things as well, or have team that might want to do it that we can help work with and that. So I want you to sort of think of it with an open mind, but also think that if you can learn about this, then you can help someone that just might suit them to a T. If it's something you don't want to do, it's not a problem. You just choose. It's like a menu. You just pick what suits you. So Jennifer, did you want to add anything else?
Before Jennifer says that, like if you remember from Mark Hughes' trainings, he virtually said, you may not want to do something, but you need to know every concept in case you find somebody that does. It's really, really important.
Like my mind's always going, and I can see the concept, but you're always thinking, who do you know or who can you recruit to do it? So, you may very well just end up putting an ad in, you get a bartender and you say, oh, hey, this is a concept I'm seeing even in these places. Can you imagine people that have chess games going on, stuff that keeps them there, that they want to come back. Or all the people that are retired, that still come in and say, oh, meet Joe down at the, at the bar, and we're continuing our game of chess or something. There's so many things you can do. One thing I want to say off this subject is that it's going to be coming up in the next, I think, week. I'm going to do a training in the Philippines with the corporate have agreed, and it's going to be the 28th of September. It'll be a Saturday. It'll be amongst where they possibly have they have quite a few HLMs. Anyway, corporate's going to put it together. I will know in this next week or so a flyer's starting to get prepared by the Philippines. So it'll be open to everyone. If you know anyone in the Philippines, you've got any downline, once again, who do you know, rah, rah, rah. Because here's a chance again for you to talk to anyone you know, all the Filipinos, we've got millions of them around, and who do you know in the Philippines, and I'm going to be there. So it'll be the 28th of September on my way to the FPTR in Taiwan. I'm still working.
Well
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. That's amazing. If you can send that out on Master Blast, that would be great too. So I know we've gone a little bit over time. I'm sorry for that. I know some of us have got kids to get into bed and things like that. So what I probably do is I'm going to type out my notes and I'll put them on Challenge Yourself Daily for everyone, or email them out if you like, just so you've got it there. And I'm more than happy to chat to anyone about this concept if it's something you're really interested in, you've got some questions. So, we can stop share and see everyone. Thank you, Mastermind Group, for being on the call. We really, really appreciate it. Welcome to Cara and James and Amanda for your very first live training call. That's really cool. Thank you, Megan, for being on the call. Lindy had to jump off. Rosemary, Irene, loved having you on the call. Steve, Jennifer, of course, and Ross. Thank you for doing the PowerPoint, because it was really great. And Jen, thank you for painting that picture with the vacation. So I hope you all got lots out of it. Sorry for going over time, but sometimes there's times when that has to happen. There's a lot of value to give from this whole group. I'm going to convert it and it'll go on onto YouTube link. So if you want to share it with anyone, please feel free to do that. And if you've got any questions about things, you can put them in the comments section as well on that post. So thank you.
I'll ring you.
Cool. So thank you, everyone. Have a great night, and and stay tuned for the recording. So thank you for being on the call and supporting it. So good night, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Kelly.